This is kind of a curious take from a guy who's pretty good usually, which is ESPN's Bill Conley. He says that if my math is right, Georgia's going to be favored to win 12 games next season in the regular season. They only play 12 games. So that would mean that they are favored in the two games most curious to talk about here, which are at Alabama and against against Texas on the road. I mean, that's. I don't know if they're going to be favored in all 12 games. Now they have been, the last time Georgia was favored, it's been an underdog. Excuse me, it's been some time ago, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll look this up as we go. They have not been an underdog since 21, so it's been a very long time since Georgia has been an underdog, and in the betting world. So that to me, though, even more than that, sort of saying, oh, well, I think they're going to be an underdog. Excuse me, I think they're going to be favored against Alabama on the road. I can't remember the last time, and I'll look this up too. I can't remember the last time Alabama was a dog on the road. Oh, excuse me, at home. I mean, it's just that's not common at all for Alabama, and nor should it be or have been. So Georgia's not. Yeah, I mean, Georgia's not been a dog since playing Clemson. Now they should not have been a dog in that game. It didn't make sense to me then. It does not make sense to me now. Still, they were a 3-point underdog in a neutral field against Clemson. That should not have been the case. Before that, the last time they were a dog was in 2020 against Alabama on the road. Now listen, let's talk about Alabama at home. At home. Let me see here. At home as the dog. I can think maybe of one time lately, but it's not. I don't even think they're going to be a dog in that situation, which was the LSU game. Yeah, they weren't. So LSU's not been a home dog since 2007, which was against LSU. That's how long it's been. So I know Bill. Listen, I think his stuff is great at ESPN. He does a really good job of talking about stuff in a much more commonsensical way than I see from a lot of other people. Now he's not a traditional reporter, and I understand that, but I don't know, and it follows through, by the way, whatever he's saying, because Alabama and Texas both are not. He says will not be favored in all 12 of their games. So because sometimes when you get analytical people, they don't show. It doesn't make sense what they're saying, but as far as the math is concerned, but he's saying Bama will not be favored in one game, and Texas actually says Texas, if I'm not mistaken, will be the underdog in a couple of games. So I don't know which games that would be for Texas. I would think on the road against Michigan, and I would think again in this case against Georgia. But y'all, Georgia can't really be that significant a favorite over really either of those two teams. I mean, you're talking about, first of all, I don't think they will be favored in those games personally, but I think that in the case that they are, they will not be significant favorites, I should say. Speaking of significant, our buddies at EcoPoly are putting together some stuff that you can have in your man cave, man room, team room, whatever you want to call it. Some people have a Georgia room. This is a village chair counter, and it's the counter height. So it snugs in there really nicely. Our friends at EcoPoly getting you ready for the new season. Believe it or not, it's not that far away. 9 months is not that far. It feels like it is. But anyway, you can check that out. It's made of, as we talked about a lot, it's made in the heart of Georgia, completely recycled plastics. And the only thing they don't make in-house in Dodge County are the screws. So everything else is completely manufactured in-house. I've seen it. It is amazing. And I sit in these every single day, by the way. I'll show you. This is actually a red and black one. There you go. I'll show that side view here soon again, but they've got great products. Check those out. The link is down below. Hey, look, in terms of them being favored, I'm trying to get back to me. In terms of them being favored in all these games, now they are going to be favored in the rest of them. I don't know what they'll be favored against Clemson, maybe in Atlanta, maybe 7, 8. I don't think it'll be 10. Do you? It could be 10. It could be 10. That game's not at home. Now, one other curious thing about that game, I will say this. And Clemson and Charlotte, excuse me, that crowd was basically 50-50. Is that going to be the case in Atlanta? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of Georgia fans there. And, the SEC championship game a couple of weeks ago, 2 Saturdays ago, that was probably about 65, 70% Georgia fans. And that's different than the Clemson game because of how they distribute tickets, the SEC. But still, it's going to be curious to see what happens with the Chick-fil-A people. I don't know if we're calling it the Chick-fil-A thing anymore. I think it's Aflac. Anyway, Gary Stoken and company can correct me on these matters. But that's going to be a really big showdown at the beginning of the season. But as Ryan has said, Clemson's not done their part lately. But they could be a 9-win team. They could certainly be a 9-win team. And there will be some new realities for both of these teams. I mean, Clemson, had a heck of a run last decade. This decade's not been as much fun for them at all, for sure. I think they've only won the league twice, only won the ACC twice, maybe 2000 and then 2022. Is that right? They lost to South Carolina and then won it. So it's been a non-ideal 4 years because they'll playoff in 2020, but got beat pretty bad. But anyway, and there's other games, like Georgia will play. The thing about this 24 schedule is that it's kind of not a lot of fun. Is Georgia only is going to play one home game before October, and then only play two in October. They only play twice. One is Auburn and one is State. So if you like home games and you like them in November, you're going to get 3 in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Which is not what Georgia folks want. I know there's only so much you can do and say about these schedules. The SEC is trying to do all it can. It's pretty clear if you watch it. They are trying to incorporate each school has their own "why did you do that to us" moment in these. I mean, Alabama playing. I think they play at Oklahoma or at Auburn. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there are plenty of moments in these schedules where you're like, why did you do that to us? And for Alabama, yeah, I mean they travel to Oklahoma the week they play Auburn, and we don't know what Auburn's going to be like in 2024. My suspicion is they will not be at the level of Georgia or Alabama, but we're going to see. And you won't know for a while with Auburn because they play Alabama A&M, Cal, and then New Mexico before they even get into SEC play. Georgia goes Clemson, Tennessee Tech, and Kentucky. I think you'll be able to tell a lot at the first 3 weeks. If you're struggling with Clemson or Kentucky, even though neither of those games are in Athens, it might not be. You might have some work to do, and we saw this year with Georgia that they had some work to do. I will suggest that they got a lot of that work done. They just lost to Alabama by 3 points. I mean, it's not exactly this program is ending, but. I mean, all of these, the Gators the Gators close this season is horrific. Just playing Georgia and Texas in back-to-back weeks, not in Gainesville, is brutal. But going Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State, there is no more difficult schedule of anyone in the country than that right there. No one. There's no one more difficult than that. That is brutal. But when you look at this, Georgia favored over Clemson, Tennessee Tech, and Kentucky. Yes, I get all that. Georgia favored over Auburn and Athens, State in Athens. Yes, over the Gators, Oxford, being like a 3-4 point favorite over the Rebels in Oxford. They might actually be more than that. It might be more like a touchdown, but we'll just see. That makes sense. Tennessee at home, any game at home, Georgia's going to be the favorite. So Tennessee, UMass, and Tech. But it's the road games with legitimate powers, Alabama and Texas. Are they going to be favored in those games? I just don't know. I mean, that seems like a lot to me, to ask a lot of Georgia to do that. But, we'll just see how it progresses. What the teams look like right now is not necessarily what they'll look like by the time these games are played. And I think if you are, anybody kind of trying to project what's going to happen in the future, what is the stability of that particular program? And can you extrapolate that 9 months out? I don't know, but I don't think Georgia will be an underdog in any other games. I mean, I don't think the Ole Miss would be the only other one, but even that one, I don't think so. Thanks for watching.